Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. First, I want to apologize for the really echoey sound ever since moving most of my tools out of the shop and putting them in the wood shop. It's a whole lot more echoey in here. There's not as much stuff to absorb the sound. Welcome to the first video here inside of the metal shop, the welding shop, as I guess I also kind of call it. Anyway, today we're going to fabricate a little firewood rack. Basically, I want to build a very small portion on the bottom for kindling, to store kindling in. And then I want to move up and have a big U-shaped part of the rack that will hold the firewood. And the ones that I've seen sold commercially usually are the opposite of that. And the reason why I want to make them this way is because I usually tend to walk in with a big load of wood in my arms, and I tend to want to find a place to set it down. And so it'd be nice to just be able to set it down right there in the U-shaped part of the rack where the wood's meant to go, where I've traditionally seen the wood on the bottom and the kindling on the top. So anyway, let's go ahead and get to building this thing. It's going to be made 100% out of scrap, so hopefully I have enough nice material to help me build this. Alright guys, so it's been probably about a week since I started filming this video, probably a little bit less. It's because I ran out of metal, and I actually think that that was a good thing because I have changed my mind a little bit on what I want to do. It doesn't change anything I've done. It's just going to honestly save me a little bit of work, because if you look here, right there is the basic shape of this thing, and I'm going to delete this thing. I'd rather make all the space for as much firewood as I can and just keep putting kindling in the little black tote that I've been doing, putting it in. And I think it's going to save me time, and I think I'd rather have a lot more space there in the little wood rack place here. So just getting rid of this line here, and I think that that's going to be my preference. All right, here comes my least favorite portion of metalworking, and that is metal prep. And I'm especially worried about this because some of this metal is pretty thin because it's been pitted so bad. I'm very tempted to use some brand new steel and just cut these pieces up again, but at the same time, yeah, you know, it's not like it's a, you know, some kind of frame or something. All it's supposed to do is just hold logs together, which they, you know, you get a good enough stack and they do that themselves pretty much. It's not really holding too much weight, even where it's pretty thin. It is going to make it a pain in the neck to weld, I know that for sure. Where it's pretty thin, I think we'll be okay. I'll figure it out, I guess. Well, I guess this is where I'm gonna start doing gasless flux core, because I'm out of MIG gas. Flux core works fine. I can grind off the beads and it won't be a big deal. Of course, I do want to try and make this look as nice as I possibly can because it's going in my house, and hopefully I can make it look nice enough that we actually want to keep it around for a little while. Alright, we're just way too hot here. Alright, so as you can see, this is so thin here that it's very difficult to weld it. As soon as the arc touches it, it's going out. So I'm gonna go ahead and just weld up the other side. You can't, well, maybe you can see, yeah, you can't see the other side, but there's no other piece on it. I'm gonna weld the other piece on it. That should go pretty smooth. And I'm thinking what I'll end up doing is covering this up right here. That's when I'll get this welded up and covered. Well, these are some seriously ugly welds I'm putting together here. All right, hopefully this goes a little bit better because I am welding to a new piece of steel here. Much better, much, much better. All right, some of these welds turned out okay. Some of them turned out horribly. So this is definitely one of those, a little grinding and paint will make me the welder I ain't. So that's what I'm gonna get to right now, is trying to clean all the BBs off from the flux core welding that's left behind and get all these really ugly, nasty welds ground down, and then fill in some holes again and then grind them down again, because there are some holes in here because this square tubing on the inside and out, this rusty stuff, was so bad that it was very difficult to weld anywhere. In the past, when I have painted projects, I end up with a little, you know, paint color hue over the camera, and I don't like doing that. I also don't think anybody finds me painting things interesting. Who knows, maybe nobody even finds me welding anything interesting. I'm not saying I'm totally and completely finished, maybe sanding some of this rust and paint off. We'll have to see where I get when I get around to priming it. I'd like to hit it up with 3 good coats of primer, and then 3 good coats of flat black, and then 3 good coats of some kind of clear coat. And hopefully that will kind of cover up some of these imperfections, these different places where it's already been painted. You can see a little bit of difference in the height and thickness of the steel, if that makes sense to you, and you can see some of the imperfections. Hopefully that'll help cover some of them up. And it's going next to a wood stove that is quite rustic, it's quite old, and then it also is going to be full of, you know, logs and firewood all winter long. So it'll hold a couple days worth of wood, it looks like to me, at least a couple days, maybe a little bit more. One of the places that'll come really in handy is, for example, the last couple of days we had nonstop rain and all of our wood got soaked. A lot of this wood is wet, and if we see that coming in the forecast, we can just make sure that this thing's chock full of wood. The heat from the wood stove right next to it will help keep it dry, or help dry it out faster and keep it dry so it's nice and ready to go when it gets inside of the wood stove. Obviously it still needs to be finished. I really want to get some paint on it. It'll look a lot nicer, but before, you know, until I get that primer and the flat black paint that I need and everything, I can still use it even if it's a little bit ugly. So pretty simple project. I know it's not the most exciting thing in the world, but It's nice to weld again. I have not really welded much in the last probably over 6 months. But thanks everyone for watching. If you like this video, make sure you go give it a big thumbs up. Helps out with the YouTube algorithms. And if you're not a subscriber, click subscribe. Thanks for watching again. We'll see you in the next video.